by Cure Auto. 25 years of saving you money. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well. By StubHub. Looking for great seats? Head to StubHub, the official ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. And by Fidelis Care. Quality health coverage. It's their mission. Stop by your local McDonald's today to pick up an exclusive Mets ticket offer. Offer valid through the end of the regular season, excluding July 30th and the Subway Series games. Seats are based on availability while supplies last. For more information, visit Mets.com/McDonald's. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Pirates lost to the Giants yesterday. They've lost 12 of 14. Their pitching has been dreadful with Garrett Cole out of their rotation. Giancarlo Stanton starting to find it. His average up to .216, hitting .400 over his last 6 games. And the Nats have helped the Mets out by losing 5 straight. They are in Milwaukee tonight with Max Scherzer on the mound. Tonight's Twisted but True Fact brought to you by Twisted Tea, the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. And even though David Wright has played very little, he still leads the Mets in stolen bases. He has 3 of the Mets' 13 stolen bases this season. Mets have lost 4 straight to the Braves. Maybe some greasy food at the varsity will get them right in.
No.
Cespedes back in the lineup after missing 1 game with the sprained wrist, in which he had a cortisone shot day before yesterday, so he goes right back into the 3-hole. James Looney, who hit 3rd last night, drops to 5th. Wilmer Flores back in after a night off. And Travis d'Arnaud catching back-to-back games for the first time since coming off the DL.
And that's the starter tonight, Aaron Blair, who had his debut earlier in the season against Jacob deGrom here in Atlanta in a 3-2 loss to the Mets. He was part of the no decision against Steven Matz. This is a rematch on the last homestand with the Mets. The Braves won that game 4-3. Sinker slider. He's had his troubles. He's 0-4 on the year, giving up 7 home runs in 46 1/3 innings. That's not good. And we'll take a quick look at the Coors Light Brave defense. Frenchie out in left field, the former Met. Also returned into the Brave uniform on the infield. Freddie Freeman, keep an eye on him. He is wearing it out. He has caught fire. And Tyler Flowers, they pretty much split the catching duties between him and A.J. Przinsky. And there's the manager right there who got thrown out of last night's ball game. Brian Snitker.
Put on a little bit of a show. Not too often that managers these days can do their whole raging manager against the umpire routine with replay, but after the replay call went against him, Snitker got his money's worth and got ejected for the first time as a big league skipper. And his team then came from behind and won. So who knows, he might try it again tonight.
If the call doesn't go his way.
24-year-old Aaron Blair on the mound, looking for his first big league win, his third start against the Mets. Curtis Granderson leads off, and Blair's first pitch is in for a letter-high strike, and that is the 64th straight plate appearance in which Curtis Granderson has taken the first pitch. That is the longest active streak in the major leagues. Curtis has been trying to up his walk rate, which is a little bit below last year's. One of the reasons why he had such a good year last year is because his walk rate was the best of his career. And he fouls off the changeup, and it's 1-2. Granderson 1 for 5 last night, 2 for 19 over the last 5 games.
It has been a start and stop year for Granderson. Got off to the bad start and it's been kind of treading water, up to 222 on the year.
Takes the change up in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Cabrera and Cespedes to follow against Blair, who grew up in Las Vegas and then somehow wound up on the other side of the country at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. That's a move I don't think too many have made. The Vegas to Marshall move. Bounce foul, and it's still 2-2 to Granderson. But he had a great college career in Marshall. First round pick by the Diamondbacks in 2013. And then came over in the big trade last winter where the Braves sent Shelby Miller to Arizona. They got back their center fielder Ender Inciarte and Blair and their prospect shortstop Dansby Swanson in that deal. Curveball bounced to the right side, and Peterson there to play it for the first out of the night. And you can see early that Aaron Blair, despite being a pretty big guy, is not a hard thrower.
6'4", 250 to be exact, Gare. 24 years of age, and he's a big guy, long-legged.
Fills out the uniform like a young Aaron Harang.
Yeah, he's got a kind of an awkward-looking physique. Likes to wear those pants up high, show those socks.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, 1 for 5 last night. And takes a fastball for a strike. In that start against the Mets last Saturday night, Blair gave up a couple of home runs to Yoenis Cespedes and Wilmer Flores. Was tagged with 3 runs and 5 hits over 6 innings. Curveball has Cabrera flailing, and it's 0-2.
Well, it's a nice backdoor curve right there. It just completely fools Cabrera.
The Mets had a 3-0 lead in that game last Saturday. Then Mets gave up a couple of runs, and then the Mets had some defensive lapses that enabled the Braves to come back and win. Little tapper to the right side, and Freeman comes into play. It's two soft ground balls generated by Blair, and he's got the first 2 out.
Well, he's showing right now he's throwing a lot of junk up there, changing speeds. 26 walks along with his 46 in the 3rd innings and 53 hits. It's a lot of base runners. The opponents are hitting .298 against him, and both lefty and righty right on the money at .298 each, lefties and righties. So his ERA is over 7. It hasn't been fun for him, I'm sure.
So here's Yoenis Cespedes back in the lineup tonight after sitting out last night. Got the cortisone shot in his wrist on Wednesday, and he takes a fastball for a strike. And I asked Terry Collins before the game if he was tempted to use Cespedes as a pinch hitter late last night. Remember, he used Matt Reynolds leading off in the 9th inning, and we speculated whether Cespedes was available, and Cespedes asked to be used, but Terry declined. And Yoenis flies one out to right, and Markakis comes over toward the line. Into foul ground to make the catch, and that retires the side. Let's go 1-2-3 before Aaron Blair. Steven Matz takes the mound when we come back. Bats in the lineup against the lefty Steven Matz tonight. Jeff Francoeur, though, is in to give them at least one additional right-handed bat. Tyler Flowers behind the plate as well.
And there's Steve. We're talking about his last 4 starts. Your Land Rover numbers right there.
Jace Peterson leads off and takes a fastball outside. Peterson 1 for 3 last night. He has been much better since they brought him back from the minor leagues 2 weeks ago, hitting .341 since he returned. Remember last year Peterson had a great first half for the Braves and then faded the second half of the year. Got off to a poor start this year, and so they used the AAA cure, and it seems to be working out just great. Grounded to the right side, right at Walker, and Neal throws out Peterson, 1 away.
Well, over the last 4 starts for Steven Matz, that he's winless. And like I said, he hasn't won in a month. He's got an ERA of 3.57. It's not terrible. A lot of pitchers would take that, but he's the kind of guy, he's not satisfied with that. Hasn't given up a home run yet to a left-hander.
I was a little surprised that Brian Snitker didn't use every available right-hand hitter against Matz tonight, because he's been really vulnerable against right-hand hitting lately. Ender Inciarte takes inside. During the 7 straight starts that Matz won, the righties hit 180 against him, but these last 4, 333. Inciarte slaps one past Flores and into left field. Takes a hard turn and holds on for the 1-out single.
Well, when you can run like Inciarte can and you force the third baseman in, there's your base hit. Just a little inside out. And we'll see how Freddie Freeman handles Steven Matz.
Freeman 1 for 4 last night. Matz handled him well last week. Freeman was 0 for 3 against him with a couple of strikeouts.
Notice how Freeman always chokes up on the bat. And there he is his last 10 games. You saw him in New York just kill the ball in the 3-game series. They swept them from the Mets. But choking up on the bat always.
And the fastball pops in for a strike, and it's 0-2.
It's always interesting. Freddie Freeman got off to the bad start, got his average up now to .275, but hitting .294 against left-handers. And not the good hitters always hit lefties. Lefty good hitters always hit the lefties better.
3 of his 12 home runs against left-hand pitching. And he reaches for the curveball and fouls it off.
Well, that's staying in the at bat right there. That's a good hard curveball. That's the kind of curveball I want to see Matz throw more.
He's pretty much gotten away from his slider. He threw exactly one slider in his last start. He's talked about how that puts a little more pressure on his elbow, and with that elbow barking a little bit coming out of his last start, it'd be surprising if we see him throw any sliders tonight. Bounces the curveball, and it's 1-2. I don't know, as a left-hand hitter, which pitch concerns you more, a quality curve or a quality slider?
I like the breaking ball from a left-hander. I would rather face a quality slider than a quality curveball.
Because?
It stays more on the same plane. I mean, it may have a downward tilt, but I'm talking about a real, like a Sandy Koufax curve, a great curveball.
Right. As opposed to, say, a Steve Carlton slider?
For some reason, I always thought that Carlton's slider was
like
a
curveball.
curveball.
Yeah.
To me, I always thought in terms of curveball. But Carlton was one of those pitchers that I saw well.
Freeman slugs one foul. Well, he is a strike thrower. He doesn't walk people. He works quickly. All the tenets that you ask for from your young pitchers. Doesn't have a great move, and he's been very runnable. In fact, he's given up more stolen bases than any left-hand pitcher in the game this year.
And we've noticed now of late Met pitchers paying a lot more attention to base runners at first base.
Inciarte with 5 steals this year. Double play ball right at Walker. The backhand flip, and Cabrera does the rest for the 4-6-3 double play. That gets matched through the opening inning as he wins the battle with Freddie Freeman. After 1, no score. United Bank. Well, they have 28 career starts between them. Steven Matz and Aaron Blair. Matz 25 years old, Blair 24. Neil Walker leads off against Blair in the second inning, and Neil takes a curveball for a strike. Walker had a breakout night last night after an 0 for 15 stretch. He was on base 3 times with 2 singles and a walk, had a sac fly, drove in a couple of runs. And he laces one up the middle, a base hit. So Walker now 3 for 3 in this series as the first base hit of the night for New York.
Well, starting to come around, Walker. His little toe tap you saw on his stride. Ball on the outside corner.
Never really felt like he was slumping, even when he had that long over, because he was hitting so many balls hard. Now James Looney, who had a good night last night. He was on base 3 times with a single and 2 walks. He had a great day against Blair last Saturday. That was the game he had 3 extra base hits. The first 2 came against Blair, a double and a triple. So let's see if Blair has figured out a better way to pitch to Looney, with Walker at first and nobody out. And Looney bounces 1 foul.
Looney's a big guy, big strong guy, 6'4". They're all giants today. It doesn't hit for power, but he's done a heck of a job. This was when Duda went down, the Mets had to go get someone, and he was down there in the minor leagues. And he's filled in nicely.
That's basically got him for nothing from San Diego, and he's done exactly what they've asked him to.
He's been getting on base. 13 of his last 14 games he's reached base. Wilmer Flores in the on deck circle, always blowing bubbles.
Constantly.
He likes to chew the gum and blow bubbles, Wilmer. I notice these things.
Well, you're very observant. That's why you're in this job. Walker has a short lead at first. 0-2 count to Looney. And that hits him in the foot, and he'll go to first base, and the Mets have 2 men on. So an unfortunate pitch by Blair. A curveball that hits Looney right on the shoe.
Looney, like he didn't even make a move here. It's a breaking ball. He didn't even try to get out of the way. He didn't do a dance.
You ever see an umpire call a guy for not getting out of the way when it hits him in the foot?
Yeah, it's hard to say that you can't do that with a breaking ball. That's for sure. Usually it's when a guy leans out body over upper body.
So 2 men aboard for Flores, who homered against Blair last Saturday. And Wilmer tries to stop the swing on the curve, and he stopped it in time. Ryan Blakeney with the call at first, 1-0.
Blair likes his curveball here. And it's an off-speed curve, so its breaking ball is a different, slower speed than its fastball. The hitter can catch on to it quicker. I'll try to explain that to you folks out there.
That's driven out to left center, chasing Inciarte back in the gap, and he won't get there, and hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Walker will score. Looney stops at third. Wilmer Flores snaps an 0 for 12 with a run-scoring 2-base hit, and the Mets have the early lead 1-0.
Fastball on a 1-0 count. Right down the middle and up. And Wilmer takes advantage of it. It's a big ballpark here. And the Braves are fortunate that ball didn't stay in play. That could have been a triple.
Ball bounced right into a group of Met fans in that front row. So now it will run in, 2 in scoring position, and here's Conforto, 0 for 3 last night. And Michael takes a curveball for a strike.
The hell they do is throw Conforto breaking balls to start him off, and then they pound him with a fastball in when they're ahead of him. And it's what they've been doing to him.
Infield back, conceding a run on a ground ball, and Conforto chases the changeup, and it's 0-2.
This is so out of the norm for Conforto, and I got to believe, Gary, at 220 coming into the game, hitting 224, that he's pressing. He chased his little sinker right there out of the strike zone. He's always had a terrific eye.
And he goes down on 3 pitches. Blair gets him with a changeup for his first strikeout. And you got to feel, Keith, the way Conforto is swinging right now, that at some point the Mets are going to have to make a decision with him.
Well, I've been there and I've been sent down, and you know, your confidence goes. That's his 62nd strikeout, Gary, and that's not a kind of hitter Conforto is. And you know, he's a young hitter, and it's got to be weighing on him.
So that's the first out of the inning. Now Travis d'Arnaud with second and third and one out. d'Arnaud looking for his first hit since returning from the DL, his third game. And he takes the curveball on the dirt, but Flowers got enough of it, so Looney, who is not blessed with great speed, doesn't think about making a break.
Nice block. Got in front of it nicely, but it ricocheted off his glove, the heel of his glove.
The infield stays back. Again, they're conceding a run on a ground ball anywhere but first base. And the curveball in for a strike as Flowers boxes that one around. I don't know if he was crossed up.
I begin to wonder. Didn't look like it. Yeah.
He just didn't catch it well,
right.
But he's spending a lot of time talking to Blair and trying to reconnect.
Well, the Mets haven't been very good at getting runners in at third base most of the season. Got to get the ball in play here.
Conforto had a chance to do it, couldn't. Now d'Arnaud, who's 0 for 7 since coming back from the DL. Curveball misses, and it's 2-1.
Boy, he is a breaking ball pitcher. There's no doubt about it. 24 years of age, and he's throwing the wrinkle up there all the time.
Really does remind me of Aaron Harang.
A little bit.
It's the way he used to pitch. Big guy who threw soft. Fastball hit past the mound. A run will score. Ibar charges, and he gets d'Arnaud by a stride, but Looney comes in with the second run of the inning, and it's 2-0 New York. So d'Arnaud gets a run home, his second run batted into the season. And now with 2 out and a runner at third, Steven Matz will take his turn. Steven 5 for 23 at the plate this year with 1 run batted in. Flores at third with 2 down. And Matz pops the first pitch up. Peterson out. And he makes the grab to end the inning. But the Mets cash a couple. Flores and d'Arnaud with the RBIs and give Matz a 2-0 lead in the second in Atlanta. Steven Matz will carry a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the second inning.
Take a look at the Lexus Met defense. Conforto out in left. Cespedes back in the lineup. Cortisone shot in that wrist. Missed one game. Same infield. They're going with Flores, Cabrera, Walker, Looney, and Travis d'Arnaud. Back-to-back starts. Third start since he's coming off the DL.
91 degrees at game time in Atlanta. Beautiful steamy day, if you like such things. Jeff Francoeur leads off in the home second and takes a knee-high strike from Steven Matz. Francoeur came off the bench last night at a pinch hit single against Sean Gilmartin in the 7th inning.
All of his home runs, all 3 of them have come off left-handers. He's hitting .313 versus left-handers.
This was Francoeur against Matz last Saturday, a changeup that he hit out of sight off the facing of the second deck in left field. Francoeur, then Nick Markakis and Adonis Garcia for the Braves in the second. Well, he hasn't thrown him a changeup yet.
And there's the high target from d'Arnaud, and which he did not leave down in the strike zone like Reed did last night.
Curveball popped up. Walker retreats. 1 out. Baseball's biggest stars will compete in the 87th All-Star Game July 12th on Fox. That's July 12th on Fox. Vote for Yoenis Cespedes and the rest of the Mets by filling out your 2016 MLB All-Star Game ballot on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Voting ends June 30th, so vote now at MLB.com/vote. Do you ever have trouble differentiating June and July? You know, they're both back-to-back months, 4 letters, both start with the same 2 letters.
You can even go a step. That's right.
I'm just wondering whether it's ever given you any trouble, because, you know, sometimes.
June was never my favorite month in the season.
Why is that?
Because I grew up with the Giants in the June swoon.
Oh, June swoon, right.
So it was embedded in my brain.
That was like a thing.
I really think in my subconscious mind that, you know, I always felt that June took forever to complete.
And of course, July brings with it the All-Star break.
Correct.
Markakis hits it right back to Matz, and that's the second out. Two out and nobody on. Now last night's hero, Adonis Garcia.
He got the 0-2 fastball and won the ball game with a 2-run shot. And Gary, he took a swing like he had a 2-0 count, or swinging 3-0. Not a high percentage, but he got it that time.
Well, that's what he does, right? He swings hard all the time,
He
and
does.
every once in a while he runs into one.
An 0-2 count, and he fell back on his heels like he was trying to lift it. With an 0-2 count, I guarantee you, you're not going to have a high success rate doing that.
No, give him credit. He got the pitch in the strike zone that Reed intended to be out of the strike zone.
Yep.
And all 4 of his home runs this year have either tied or given the Braves the lead. And he chases a pitch up and away, and it's 1-2.
That's the pitch he wanted to make right there. Well, there's the target. You see d'Arnaud not even in the squat position, and then he got it belt high. And he said in the paper, "Geez, I said I didn't execute the pitch," and that's what they say today. You know, I just made a mistake.
Right.
He's been very good in that bullpen, although
the
last five outings he's given up
3 of the last 5 have been rough for
Reed.
He'll have the night off tonight after pitching 3 days in a row. Chopped off the plate. Flores on the charge, and the quick toss to get him. Nicely done by Wilmer to get Garcia and end the inning. 1-2-3 for Matz after getting the lead. Wilmer had to get that before the second bounce, and he did. Last year in winning the National League East, the Mets dominated the National League East, 18 games over 500. Hasn't been the case so far this year. Curtis Granderson takes a strike as we start the third. The Mets actually have pitched better against their own division than they did last year, but scoring far less, and so they're even 500 so far. It's grounded down to Freeman, and he'll take care of Granderson for the first out. Interestingly enough, the Mets are not only 500 against the division, they're 500 against each of the other 4 teams in the division. They're 5-5 against the Braves and 3-3 against everybody else.
And important to note that the Nationals have played 2 3-game series against the Braves, and they're 6-0.
Well, think about it this way. The Mets have played the Braves 4 times now over the last 2 weekends. If they had won those 4 instead of losing them, they'd be tied for first place.
Lost opportunities.
Here's those dribble Cabrera, who grounded out to Freeman his first time up. And a good curveball by Blair. And you know, give the Braves credit too. I mean, they've won 7 of their last 8. They swept the Mets. They split a couple with the Marlins, then won last night, and they're getting much better pitching now than they were earlier in the season. Two curveballs, neither one anywhere near the strike zone, and Cabrera behind in the count 0-2.
He loves his curve, and he runs that sinker away to left-hand hitters. Braves are 10-27 at home this year.
Well, they started out what, 2-20 or something?
Oh, it was terrible.
Like that?
Yeah.
Cabrera slaps one to short. Ibar in front of it. 2 out. That's 5 ground ball outs already for Aaron Blair. That's his stock in trade. So the base is empty for Cespedes, who fouled out to right field his first time up. Of course, the question with Cespedes isn't just that he's in the lineup, it's how effective can he be with a wrist that clearly has been giving him trouble off and on.
Well, you never want to have a cortisone shot in your wrist if you're a hitter. There's so much. The wrist is such an important part of your swing. You get generate that snap of the wrist when you swing on contact. Propels the ball. And it does when you get the cortisone shot here. I got a cortisone shot in that series, championship series against the Dodgers in '88, in that real rainy game.
Right.
When I got caught, stepped on the mud going to third base, and I jammed my wrist, and I got a cortisone shot in my wrist after the game, and I wish I hadn't done it because it kind of deadened my wrist. And we went to LA and played the 2 games in LA. I just felt like I had no snap in it was my right wrist, and like I had no snap.
Well, his last swing on Wednesday, you could see that he was clearly in a lot of discomfort. Took his hand off the bat and grimaced. And that was the signal that something was amiss. He came out of that game, had the cortisone shot that night, and after 1 day off, right back in there.
Well, he wanted to play last night.
So I guess my question to you is, how would we know if it's bothering him? Is it a matter of bat speed? Is it a matter of pulling versus hitting to the opposite field? How would it manifest itself?
Well, if you see him grimace, obviously,
right.
I don't think it'll affect the bat speed. If it's really bothering him, he won't be able to swing.
Strikes out. The ball comes off the backstop screen, and Flowers able to throw him out. So Blair has his second strikeout and sets the Mets down 1-2-3 in the third. Still 2-0 New York. This is about his wrist, and you had another thought.
Well, when you're hurting, whether your hands, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, your mind tells you, plays tricks on you, and this could happen where you get out too quick because you're hurting and you think you've lost a little bat speed, so you're more inclined to swing at bad pitches, which Cespedes did right there.
Tyler Flowers takes a curveball for a strike as we start the bottom of the third. Flowers has started a little over half the games for the Braves this year, sharing time with A.J. Pierzynski, and he gets sawed off and bounces one to second. And Walker makes the play for the first out. So everything's been on the ground for Steven Matz early in this game. Mets Power Pitchers of the Week brought to you by East Coast Power and Gas. Highest strikeout to walk ratios in the National League. Clayton Kershaw with a record-setting performance so far, but in the human world, Syndergaard and Matz are there in the top 5.
Look at that. That is just absurd.
I mean, the record is 11.6, and he's over 20 so far. Here's Eric Ibar, and he shoots one foul. But it's amazing, isn't it, that two pitchers with the inexperience of Syndergaard and Matz. You know, Syndergaard's been in the major leagues a little over a year, and Matz not even that they would be in that group. Ibar tries to bunt, it's foul.
Coming up extremely polished. That's what that means, and that goes down to minor leagues. I mean, Syndergaard and Matz, they all have the pitches. They have fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and they have great command.
That's an issue. The fewest walks as a staff of any staff in the league. And Matz that time runs one inside to Ibar.
Jeez. Okay.
It's one noisy truck.
Every night.
It does come with a muffler, right? 1-2 for Matz, and the curveball fouled at the plate.
A lot more pitchers today. The pitch du jour is the off-speed pitch, the circle change, and all the pitchers come up with it. They're being taught it in the minor leagues, and I agree. That's one of the big, I think, advancements and changes in the game from when I played. That usually major league pitchers came up, good arms, breaking ball, and then they learned to throw a changeup on the big league level. They're teaching these guys at the lower levels of the minor leagues and throughout the minor leagues. They might as well take their lumps there, perfect it down there, so it's when it's big time, when you're ready for the big time, it's an accomplished pitch. And Matz and Syndergaard are testament to that.
Well, it certainly helps, in particular in the Mets farm system, that at the AAA level you've got a pitching coach in Frank Viola who had one of the best changeups ever.
Correct. It's invaluable. People with big league experience can impart so much knowledge to young kids.
Ibar strokes one out to center, chasing Cespedes back, but he's got room. And that's the second out. It's about as far as Ibar can hit the ball. Ibar does not have a home run this year, and there are 14 players in the major leagues who have at least 100 at bats with no home runs, and of those 14, the Braves have 5 of them, including Ibar and Inciarte, who are in the lineup tonight. A.J. Pierzynski, Chase Darno, and Daniel Castro are the others. So it's a Braves lineup that has a lot of guys who just do not cast much of a shadow at the plate.
Oh, they're last in runs scored, last in slugging.
0-2 to Blair, who's 1 for 14 in his big league career.
And the Mets have just lost some opportunities here. And like you always say, I know it's cliche, but you gotta beat up on the second division teams and play 500 against your competition.
Well, I know it's maddening from a fan's perspective to see the Mets get swept by the Braves last weekend and then play so well for 2 days against Kansas City, a quality team, and beat them a couple of one-run games.
It's like you get up for the good teams.
Well, they got plenty of good teams coming up.
Yes, they do. The schedule is going to be a little daunting, and it's going to carry through right to the All-Star break, and we'll know a lot about what's going on at the All-Star break. Washington isn't exactly killing it.
Not right now. Walker throws out Blair. 7 in a row retired by Matz. We've played 3 in Atlanta. It's 2-0 New York. Down with Jet safety Marcus Gilchrist. Find out why he had to make some adjustments playing with Darrelle Revis. Plus, if Wilkerson holds out during camp, who will take his place? On Jets Nation Sunday at 7 only on SNY. And what about Louise? Peyton Place.
I never watched Peyton Place.
Neil Walker had a base hit, scored a run in the 2nd inning. Facing Aaron Blair. Mets up 2-0. And Walker hits another one sharply, and he's got another base hit. And Neil is now 4 for 4 in this series.
Jumps on a fastball again. Wanted it away, did not sink, kept it up, and good hitters are going to take advantage of that. Ripped.
Walker's 6 plate appearances in this series, 4 for 4, a walk and a sacrifice fly. He's having himself quite a time in Atlanta. James Looney, who was hit on the toe by a pitch his first time up. So Looney has now reached base, what'd you say, 14 of the last 15 games?
Yes. That would be correct, Gare.
Just making sure. Good changeup to start him off. And I know you're a stickler for accuracy.
You are, my friend. I can fudge it every now and again. You don't.
You keep me flying right. I mean, if I were to say something like, yeah, that Keith Hernandez, he won 10 Gold Gloves, you would correct me immediately.
Well, yes, I would. I have to correct my producer all the time, not the one here, not Gerard, not you. Gerard's very respectful. But Greg,
yeah, he does it just to get your goats.
He drops the 4. Would you win 4 Gold Gloves?
11, folks, 11. 1 and 2 to Looney. I mean, did Brooks Robinson and Jim Cott win?
16.
And then did Maddox win more?
Maddox won more. I think Maddox won
17, 18.
Oh, I think maybe 18, 19. I'm not sure. And after, I mean, Jim Cott and Brooks held that record for a long, long time until Maddox came around. And I believe number 2 was Willie Mays and Clemente. I think they had 13. 18 for Maddox.
Change up, Looney lays off.
I think Mays may have had, and I think 13's right. I know Ozzie Smith had 13 or 12, I'm not sure.
It's a lot of gold.
Yeah, it is. A lot of spray painted leather gloves.
Two coming, and Looney scoots one over the bag, and that's a fair ball. Walker on his way to third. Francoeur gets to it. Looney digs into second and pulls in with a double. So Looney, who had 3 extra base hits the game Blair pitched last week, has an extra base hit in this game.
He tried to pull the first 2 strikes, and then he gets 2 strike hitting. He goes right with the pitch, and that is beautiful hitting. And the ball boy there, don't think about it. Don't. The ball's live. Mets are in business here.
Second and third and nobody out. Wilmer Flores coming up. Flores drove a ground rule double to left center to drive in a run in the second. Braves will bring their infield halfway in. Already down in the game 2-0. And Flores takes a curveball for a strike.
This guy's ripe for the picking right now. Let's break this game wide open.
Walker at third, Looney at second, and nobody out. Aaron Blair still looking for his first big league win. 0-4, 7.19 through his first 10 major league starts. He's the first Braves starting pitcher to begin his career 0-4 since 1977, when a guy named Don Collins, who I don't remember
him,
started out 0-5. He's only the 4th pitcher in Braves history, which goes back to 1876, to go winless through his first 10 starts for the Braves. Grounded down to third. The runners will hold. And Garcia's throw gets Flores for the first down. So Walker taking no chances.
Ball hit too close to the line. Walker can't come down the line at all here. And you're not going to have a contact play with nobody out.
So now they're going to walk Michael Conforto intentionally, and they're going to pitch to Travis d'Arnaud. Conforto struck out on 3 pitches against Blair as last time, but they'd rather set up the double play situation and bring up the right-hand batter.
Well, it's an interesting move, playing percentages here.
I mean, from Blair's perspective, he has been equally vulnerable against left and right-hand batters.
You got the guy in the on-deck circle, d'Arnaud, coming off the DL, hitting on the interstate below 170. He's 0 for 1 today. So that would entice a manager to make the move.
So Conforto gets the intentional pass, and that loads him up for d'Arnaud. Roger McDowell's going to go out to talk to Blair before he takes on Travis. So a crucial point in this game, with d'Arnaud with a chance to do some damage here. Still looking for his first hit since coming back from the DL, and Blair just trying to survive. d'Arnaud drove in a run with a ground out his first time up. 0 for 8 since coming off the disabled list. Walker at third, he singled. Looney at second, he doubled. Conforto at first after the intentional walk. Now the infield can drop back to double play depth against d'Arnaud.
Mets need a base hit here.
And it's outside and low for ball 1. I thought with the lefty on the mound for the Mets tonight that Brian Snitker would have Travis's brother Chase in the lineup, but Chase is not starting, and the 2 d'Arnaud brothers still haven't started a game against each other in the big leagues.
d'Arnaud's really got that bat over Look at how he's almost pointing the bat at the pitcher.
He lines one the other way, a base hit. Walker is in. Looney's going to be waved around. He comes in to score. All the way to third goes Conforto. Travis d'Arnaud with a big hit, his first since coming off the DL, and it drives in a pair. And it's 4-0 New York.
Well, take that. You walk the guy in front of me, make you pay. Didn't hit it hard off the end of the bat. 3 RBIs for d'Arnaud. Fastball away. Not a bad pitch. A little bit up off the end of the bat.
So the Mets double their lead. And now with Conforto with third, d'Arnaud at first, and 1 out. Matt's at the plate. I don't think anybody in the building thinks he's going to bunt. Matt's popped up his first time up. And he pops this one up into right center, deep enough that Conforto can tag. Markakis makes the catch. Conforto comes on home. Matz with a sacrifice fly, and it's 5-0 New York. So Steven wastes no time getting his second run batted into the season.
Well, this is not going to help Blair's earned run average. Now 5 runs in 4 innings. He's just going to balloon it up even above 7.
So the Mets with 2 in the second, 3 home in here in the fourth, and now Curtis Granderson with a runner at first and 2 out. Curtis is 0 for 2, twice has grounded out to the right side, and they have the shift on against him yet again. And a curveball to start him off, 0-1. And that is a swing at a first pitch, which is the first time Curtis has done that in his last 66 plate appearances. And another dribbler to the right side. Freeman's got this one and shovels to Blair, and that ends the inning. But the Mets put up a 3 spot in the fourth. d'Arnaud with the big hit, drives in a couple. He's got 3 RBIs on the night. And Steven Matz and the Mets are up 5-0. All ready for Travis d'Arnaud. He's driven in 3 of the 5 Met runs. And for more on Travis and family, let's go to Steve Gelbs' report tonight is brought to you by Fidelis Care. Steve?
Gary, even though Chase and Travis have yet to play in a major league game together, still pretty cool that you have two brothers at the major leagues, at the pinnacle at the same time. And, you know, both of the brothers actually credit a wiffle ball similar to the one that I am holding up right now as one of the major reasons why they were able to get to this point, or at least a major reason why they were so far ahead of the curve when they were growing up. When Travis was about 7, Chase was about 9 years old, they started playing wiffle ball in their driveway every day, hours at a time. And once this ball started to crack, they actually started taping it up. And soon after that, they realized that with the tape all over the ball, there was different friction when it cut with the air, and the ball would actually move all over the place. And so they started to throw it a lot more, put different types of layers of tape on it. And both brothers feel that it actually helped them big time with their hand-eye coordination, because at such a young age, they had to pick up balls that were moving all over the place.
Now, I assume that's not the actual ball that they used as kids in California?
No, this is pristine right here. I couldn't take all the tape off of that, but this is very similar to it. And one other thing, Gare, they actually did say as well that because they had to play in such a narrow driveway, they had their house to the left, the neighbor's house to the right. If you hit any of the houses, it was a foul ball. So they also really had to learn from a very young age about how to constantly try and hit the ball up the middle, back up the middle.
Now, did you bring a wiffle ball bat too, so you could encourage them maybe to recreate these childhood scenes?
No, I didn't bring the wiffle ball bat, but that's why I should check with you before I do things like this.
By the way, just because Keith is such a stickler, I have to just clarify. They haven't started in the same game in the big leagues, but they have actually played in the same game.
Correct.
Walker gets in front of Inciarte's ground ball, and quickly there are 2 out.
Steve, I have a question for you. Are you still there?
I am here.
Did they swing a regular bat or a plastic bat?
I believe they swung a wiffle ball bat.
Okay, see, my father would not let us swing a wiffle ball bat because it was too light. We had to bat right-handed. Well, now, Gary and I had the ball that was half solid, and then had the other half was holes, and you can make it rise, sink,
well,
move.
they sometimes used that, Keith, but the one thing that I will say, and this is probably the difference between what you were doing with your father and what they were doing, they were just playing around. They didn't realize how much of a benefit it had on their ability to pick up the baseball until they started to, get to be a little bit older, 12, 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
Do you feel, Keith, as though maybe you missed out on something as a kid, not being able to play wiffle ball?
I wonder if Dad put us. No, we batted right-handed. We batted opposite side. Gary and I.
So
we got to be pretty good. So I was wondering if Dad was like maybe seeing if we could be switch hitters. But
that would have been something.
I marvel at switch hitters, how they can hit from both sides of the plate.
You could have been Eddie Murray.
Mickey Mantle.
Well, I was thinking first baseman. Walker throws out Freeman, and Matt's pitching marvelously tonight, getting ground ball after ground ball. He's retired 10 in a row after 4, 5-0 New York. To join us in the booth and call a Mets game on SNY. Just go to sny.tv/Kitcaster, where you can video audition online for a chance to win the SNY Kitcaster contest, presented by New York's 529 College Savings Program. 5-0 New York as we start the fifth, as Drupal Cabrera leads off against Aaron Blair. Cabrera's been up twice and grounded out both times. The top three guys in the Mets batting order, Granderson, Cabrera, and Cespedes, are combined 0 for 7. And yet the Mets have 5 runs in the first 4 innings. Go figure. Perhaps even more stunning is the Mets have scored 5 runs without hitting a home run.
And they scored 3 runs last night without a home run. And I knew coming into this ballpark, this is such a big park, that they weren't going to be able to feast on the long ball. Am I reading this score correctly? Houston got 9 runs in the top of the first?
Yes.
Holy cow.
And they're still batting.
Jeez.
And I believe Edison Volquez is still in there. He's given up 7 hits and a walk, 9 runs with 1 out. Houston's been rolling. They've won 5 straight. They're over 500 for the first time this season. I guess that inning's now over, at least according to the scoreboard. 3-1 coming to Cabrera. And he lifts one foul, 3-2. Let us ask our Verizon trivia question, shall we? Who was the only Braves player to play with the franchise in Boston, Milwaukee, and Atlanta? I think I got this one. There's ball 4, and Cabrera's on with a walk. Second walk given up by Blair. And the Mets get the leadoff man on for the 3rd time in 5 innings. And here is Cespedes, who's fouled out and struck out in his first 2 at-bats. Well, the Brewers got a pair against Max Scherzer in the first inning.
I'm showing you. I think. Oh, okay. The Braves player. Oh, really? I didn't know he went that far back. Okay.
Cespedes drives one to center. Inciarte racing back, and he gets there.
That's a nice jump by Inciarte on a ball hit over his head. And the first ball hit hard by Cespedes tonight results in an out.
And that's a good sign as far as Cespedes' wrists are concerned. His wrists. This is a bullet right here.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Neil Walker is 2 for 2 tonight. Now 4 for 4 in this series. Yes, the moral of the story with Walker is if you keep hitting the ball hard, eventually they're going to fall.
Right. Even when you're in the worst of slumps and you're making horrible contact, just keep swinging.
And he stopped the swing on that curveball. Ball 1. Cabrera at first and 1 out. And Walker goes after the changeup, 1-1. And Walker hits this one out to left. Frank Cora's going to have to play this on a hop, and Walker's 3 for 3. Well, now they're all falling for Neil.
That'll get the average back up there. Coming into the game hitting .263. He was down to .257.
5 for 5 in this series now, and that'll get you back in a hurry. With the 3 for 3s up to 272. 15 points in 2 days.
That 5 for 5 is always a good one. They're hard to come by.
So the Mets poised to try to add to a 5-0 lead with Cabrera at second and Walker at first. And here's Looney, who hit a double over the third base bag his last time up after being hit by a pitch in the second. He scored twice. So Looney is now 3 for 3 against Blair with 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles and a triple.
What I've seen from Blair, it's a guy you've got to fatten up your average on. Hate to be cruel and heartless, but
well, there's no mercy in this game.
That's right.
Change up in for a strike, 0-2. I mean, they have a mercy rule in Little League, but not.
Do they?
Not in the. Well, if you're up by, what is it, 10 after 5 innings?
Really?
Game's over.
They only play 6. Let them play one more. Oh.
Looney cracks one to deep right field. Back goes Markakis looking up at the wall, and it's out of here. James Looney adds a 3-run homer. His second home run of the season, and the Mets have blown the doors off. It's now 8-0 New York. Looney claiming full ownership of Aaron Blair. 4 at bats, 2 doubles, a triple, and a 3-run homer.
Second home run of the year, and a big one. And they're going to let this guy out here. They're going to keep Blair in this game.
When Looney hits one that far, and that was what, 420, 430 feet, makes you wonder why he didn't hit more.
He's a strong guy too. Look at this hanging breaking ball.
And he hit it out of sight.
And this is Blair's ERA is going to get over 8 here now. It's just getting. This is a fanny kicking.
1-1 to Flores, who delivered the first Met run tonight with a ground rule double in the second. Looney, double and a home run tonight. Alexi Agondo, first man up in the Braves bullpen.
When you play these second division teams, Gary, you jump out quick on them, and they usually lay down and die. So that's the objective. You let them hang around, they'll be feisty, but you give them a good spanking early.
Looney has been everything the Mets could have asked for him, and the home run just icing on the cake. There's ball 4 to Flores, and so Blair's nightmare continues. He's only gotten 1 out in this inning, and that was a bullet hit by Cespedes that Inciarte went back and got. We'll see how much longer Brian Snitker stays with his starter.
I just think they want to get 5 innings out of him so that bullpen doesn't get taxed. This game is, you know, I played in games with 8-run leads have been squandered, but not too often.
Mets had the one game against the Pirates on the last homestand where they put up 11 with that irregular lineup. They had that 11-run 19-hit game. But it's there have not been many in the last few weeks where the Mets have put up this kind of hurting. And now Snitker is going to pull the plug on Aaron Blair. So Blair will exit after 4 1/3 after the Mets have broken out with 8 runs and 7 hits tonight. He'll leave after just 72 pitches. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Mets up 8-0 in the 5th. We'll be right back to Atlanta. Will be the long man out of the Braves pen tonight.
From San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, where all those shortstops come out of, the Dominican Republic. He's a lanzador.
He was an all-star back in his second big league season with Texas as a starting pitcher. But he's been a reliever most of his career. He comes in to face Michael Conforto, who was intentionally walked his last time up, struck out in his other at-bat against Aaron Blair. The 8 runs the Mets have scored tonight are the most they've scored in a road game in more than 2 months. April 23rd here in Atlanta, with Steven Matz pitching that night as well. They put up 8, and not that many on the road until tonight.
This is the fourth time the Mets have scored 8 or more runs for Matz.
And he's driven in one of them.
At 13 runs, that's the most they've scored for him. That was in that against the Giants at home.
Well, he had that stretch where he won 7 straight starts, but he's gone 4 straight starts without a win, but he's in very comfortable position tonight. Meanwhile, Aaron Blair, 72 pitches over 4 1/3, 7 hits, 8 runs so far, 3 walks, 1 intentional, 2 strikeouts, a hit batsman, and a home run. Just a truly ugly night for Blair, who is still going to be searching for his first big league win. 1-1 to Conforto with Flores at first and 1 out. And Michael goes out to the slider, 1-2.
Now these are the signs we talked a couple days ago about what you look for a hitter that's struggling. We raved about Conforto's eye at the plate. We have seen him fishing for bad pitches, and this is all anxiety, and everything speeds up. You put pressure on yourself. You're struggling.
And he goes down swinging on the fastball, so he's struck out for the second time today, and there are 2 out in the inning.
All the breaking stuff, Gary, get ahead and they come and get him with the fastball in. That's what they've been doing.
But think about how he came to the plate in that at bat early in the count against a guy, Ogando, who hasn't thrown strikes this year, and he's up there swinging at everything.
Everything speeds up. That's all I can tell you. It's in fast motion. You've lost your confidence. Whatever the outward appearances are for Conforto, I guarantee you, it shakes you to your core when you're struggling like he has. He's got to be like 80 at bats in this slump, right, Gary?
Well, it's even more than that. I mean, if you go back to the 1st of May when he faced Bumgarner, and that seemed to turn things around. I mean, we're talking about 140 at bats since then. So I mean, this is a long stretch of 7 weeks, almost 8, that he just has not looked the same as he did back in April.
Well, I'll say one thing. In this lengthy struggle he's been going through,
Arno hits it down to third.
He has not let it affect his defense.
He played great defense last night, almost saved the game for the Mets. Well, the Mets cracked this game open against Aaron Blair in the 5th. James Looney gets a hanging curveball for his 2nd home run of the season. And the Mets lead 8-0 halfway through. tonight, 8-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Jeff Francoeur leads off against Steven Matz. First pitch swinging, drives one to the gap in right center. Cespedes cuts it off. Francoeur is going to challenge him, and Cespedes' throw is offline, and Francoeur has a double. So Frenchie, first pitch swinging. Have you heard that before?
I have. High fastball up and in. And Cespedes has good read by Francoeur. He has to come and pivot and throw off balance. And he never hesitated taking advantage, taking the extra base.
Well, Francoeur knows all about strong arms. He has more outfield assists than anybody in the game since he arrived in the league in 2005. And now Nick Markakis, just the second hit against Steven Matz, who had retired 10 in a row. Markakis hit a comebacker his first trip. Matz has gotten 12 outs so far tonight, and 10 of the 12 have been generated on ground balls.
It doesn't look like his elbow's bothering him. That's what I like. I've been looking at his motion and his arm action, and it seems like he is pain-free.
And Markakis lifts one to center. Cespedes has this lined up. Francoeur is going to tag. Will he challenge him again?
And the ball falls. Cespedes didn't know where it was.
Well, that was bizarre.
Cespedes was camped there like he was under the ball, and it was not even in the neighborhood.
Oh, my
And
word.
Markakis winds up with a double.
Well, we've seen this phenomenon before at Turner Field. When it's twilight in this ballpark, sometimes outfielders just don't see the ball.
He had no idea where it was.
There are no lights in the outfield in this ballpark. There are only lights in foul territory between the foul poles. And sometimes at this time of the evening, the outfielders just do not see the ball coming off the bat. And that appears to be what happened to Cespedes. So back-to-back doubles, that one tainted, and Adonis Garcia takes inside for ball one. The strange thing about that play is that Cespedes never showed the usual sign of outfielder panic.
That's driven deep to the gap. Cespedes chasing this one, and it's off the fence. 2 runs are going to score. 3 doubles in a row for the Braves. Garcia drives in a pair to get the first 2 Atlanta runs home. It's now 8-2 New York.
Tell you what, Garcia's got some power. He kind of sit there and watch. This is a big ballpark, opposite field. He didn't really get out of the box quick. Matt's got to put a stop to this right now.
So what was looking like easy pickings for Steven Matz tonight all of a sudden is getting a little dicier. 3 straight doubles, albeit one of them certainly should have been caught. And here's Tyler Flowers. And he takes the curveball in the dirt for ball one. Flowers grounded out his first time up. That's what faced the minimum over the first 4 innings. The only base runner against him in CRT who singled was raced on a double play. And now all of a sudden the Braves barraging him here in the 5th. And Flowers bounces one foul. 1-1. Tyrell Jenkins, rookie right-hander, just called up the other day, showing off his stirrups in the bullpen.
Matt's slowed down his arm speed on that breaking ball. He hasn't done it the entire game.
And Flowers takes a fastball for a strike, 1-2. So Matt's trying to get himself settled back in. after an unsettling stretch. Garcia at second and nobody out, and Matz takes a look at him.
I don't think anybody's going to go anywhere down 6 runs.
And Garcia not a big base stealing threat anyway. Flowers
through the hole, base hit. Garcia will be stopped at third.
Well, nobody reacted to that ball. Looney didn't come very far to his right to even think about that ball as it sailed through the hole.
Well, Looney in your right side of your screen did not make a break for that ball, just kind of assumed it was a base hit.
That, or maybe he didn't know where Walker was and thought maybe it was his ball?
No, I've seen Looney do that before, Gare. He's not a real quick reactor. But all of a sudden, Matt's here. He's got himself a big lead, and he's got to get out of this inning. This is the 5th inning and get the pitcher of record.
4 straight hits for the Braves to start this inning.
I think it was a changeup hit right there, up in the strike zone.
Well, this game looked like was one that Terry could go to cruise control on, and all of a sudden it's getting dicier by the moment. So with 2 runs in, runners at the corners with nobody out, the number 8 hitter Eric Ibar comes up. Brandon Snyder out on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher. Ibar flied to center his first time up, and he takes a first pitch changeup for a strike. Garcia at third, Flowers at first. And Ibar fouls it away. 0-2. There's Brandon Snyder out on deck to pinch hit. (0-2) coming. And Ibar nubs one back to Matz. Runner at third holds. He gets the out at second, and that's it. Garcia did not break for the plate, and that enabled Matz to go to second to get the middle runner for the first out. 1-4 on the fielder's choice. Ibar reaches safely at first.
Very nice play by Matz there. He did not hesitate, worry about the runner at third. Gives him a quick look back, and then he did not hesitate to go to second. It's a tough play for the third base runner, because the throw's coming from the pitcher, and in this case it's Walker. He's got in front of him, he can see the third base runner, and you cannot run yourself out of an inning here and have an unusual 1-4-2 double play.
Right. Well, if you're going to break as the runner at third, you got to do it immediately.
Right.
So here's Snyder, who started one of the games at third base in New York last weekend. In fact, he was the game that Matt started. Snyder had a double against Matz in 2 at-bats in that game. So Snyder, whose dad pitched briefly in the major leagues, Brian Snyder. Getting a chance here with first and third and 1 out. Matz, who's been a ground ball machine tonight, could use a double play ball here from Snyder. Garcia at third, Ibar at first. And Snyder whacks one out toward right field. Granderson back near the wall, and it's out of here.
Oh. Brandon Snyder in opposite field. 3-run pinch hit home run, and the Braves are right back in this game. It's now 8-5 New York. Snyder's second home run of the year, and only the Braves' second pinch hit home run of the season. And that is huge.
We've seen Matz blow up like this before, Gare. Seemingly having the game at hand and just getting the ball up in the strike zone again.
So So it's all falling apart here in the fifth. He got unfortunate on the fly ball that Cespedes never saw. But otherwise, the Braves have tattooed him here in the fifth inning. As Peterson bluffs a bunt and takes a changeup. Ball one.
It just seems like to have just discarded his breaking ball, Garen. We got the big lead. There it is right there. And just become kind of a fastball changeup pitcher, and the Braves are all over it.
Brandon Snyder, his second career pinch hit home run. He hit the first one in 2012 while he was playing for Texas. It's a changeup from Matz, and he gets the swinging strike from Peterson, 1-2. This has come about in a big hurry. 5 runs before he could blink. Peterson skimmed that over the dugout and into the crowd. And Brandon Snyder, a guy who was once a heralded prospect with the Orioles, first-round draft pick, coming out of high school in Virginia, never really made it. Baltimore, Texas, Boston, getting a crack here with these rebuilding Braves, and he gets a big hit. Now Peterson pulls a base hit into right. And Matt's just unable to seal the deal here in the fifth inning. That's the 6th hit of the inning against Matz. And Peterson is aboard.
Hanging breaking ball here. 6th hit of the inning. And they have not been any cheap ones, Garrett.
Only the Markakis one, I guess you'd call cheap.
Oh, that's right. The one that the fly ball that Cespedes lost.
Well, Hansel Robles on call in the Mets bullpen. He did yeoman work in Cologne's start when he was forced to leave early, and he may be in this game in a moment unless Matz can get this 3rd out. Inciarte takes high. Inciarte, the 8th man up in the inning.
He's got 2 outs to be the pitcher of record.
Grounded weakly. They can't turn 2. Can they get 1? Stretched by Looney, and they get the out. Fine throw by Cabrera, and Looney with probably his best stretch since he joined the Mets to get the 2nd out of the inning.
Needed all of that stretch, and they're going to check this out. Just a heck of a play and a must out. And you see Looney with the stretch.
I think they got him.
I do too.
Inciarte doesn't want to leave. And the Braves are going to challenge. Eddie Perez blocked our view there. Let's see, this will probably be a better look.
Oh, he beat it.
I think you're right, he's safe.
He beat it.
Wow.
Holy cow. What a play by Cabrera.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda Driving Matters, and from that last view we had, it certainly appears as though this may get overturned.
He got a foot on the base prior to the ball hitting the glove. So this would have been a huge argument with a first base umpire, and you're not going to ever see that anymore because they can go right to the videotape.
Well, you can see the foot on the bag and the ball not yet in the glove. Well, now the question is, assuming they overturn this call, what do you do about Matz? Do you take him out at this point? You got Freddie Freeman coming up. Now, in an inning that began with the Mets up 8-0, Freeman's coming up as the tying run.
I would leave him in to face Freeman, and that's his last man. If he gets him out, I bring in Robles to get Francoeur out, get out of the inning.
What a nightmare for Steven Matz.
8-run lead. Just needs 3 outs.
It is taking a lot longer than you would think for them to make this decision. And they do overturn it.
It's the right call.
The Braves win the challenge, and Ciarte will get an infield hit out of it. And the Braves will get the tying run to the plate.
Heck of a play by Cabrera. This is just incredible what's transpired in this bottom of the 5th.
7 hits in the inning. 5 runs have scored. And the Braves, who trailed 8-0, now get the tying run to bat with Freddie Freeman, their best hitter, at the plate. Freeman's 0 for 2 tonight. Twice has grounded the ball to second base, once into a double play.
Okay, new set of signs here. There are no flashing signs letting the infielders know what sequence. This is incredible. 4 innings, 1 hit ball, cruising.
And Freeman yanks the first one foul.
Hung that one inside. 10 in a row Matz had retired starting this inning.
He had faced the minimum, but 3 straight doubles to start the inning, including the one that Cespedes lost. Flowers single, and with 1 out, Snyder hit the pinch hit 3-run homer, and then 2 more hits. And he's quickly ahead on Freeman, 0-2. Jeff Francoeur, who started this whole thing with a double on Matz's first pitch of the inning, is now on deck.
Now, if you're Terry Collins, if he gets Freeman out, do you let him get Francoeur and get 5 in? First of all, he's got to get Freeman, a very red-hot hitter and a guy that hits left-handers very well.
Well, the argument against leaving him in to face Francoeur is that Frenchie took him deep last week and then had that double earlier in this inning.
And does he deserve to go 5 and get a W?
Not the way it's going right now. 1-2.
Hit toward the hole, base hit for Freeman. Peterson being waved around. Conforto's throw will be cut off. It's now 8-6.
Wow.
Freddie Freeman with the 8th hit of the inning, and that's going to be all for Steven Matz. The Braves have scored 6 runs in the 5th, still only 1 out, and Matz's night is done. A stunning development.
Boy, oh boy. Pitcher says 1,000 words. This is the second time he's had an outing like this, Scare. Seemingly in complete command and then have it just blow up on him. I believe Conforto is going to come out on the double switch.
Steven Matz took the mound with an 8-0 lead in this 5th inning, and he leaves with his night having been shot. Into Steven Matz's night after taking the mound with an 8-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th. He gives up 6 runs on 8 hits and leaves with the tying runs on base.
8-run lead, 10 in a row, and complete command, 1 hit through 4, and it just explodes.
Hansel Robles in to face Jeff Francoeur with 2 on and 1 out. Francoeur got the inning started with a double to right center. Alejandro De Aza has come in to play left field. He'll bat 9th, and Robles will pitch and hit 7th.
And Robles' his first appearance since that long relief in the game where Colon got hit on his hand in the first inning, 3 2/3.
It was Tuesday night against Kansas City, so he's had a couple of days off. Francoeur lifts one to right, shallow, and Granderson comes in to get it, and that's the second out. So now 2 out and 2 on, and Nick Markakis comes up. By the way, you'll want this for reference. The Mets have only blown an 8-run lead and lost once in their history. It was back in 1980 in Chicago. They had an 8-run lead and lost the game 12-9. It's the only time it's ever happened.
I hadn't joined the team then.
No, those were the dark days.
Yes, they were.
And Robles trying to make sure it doesn't happen this time. Well, here's Markakis, who hit the one that seemed to open the floodgates, a fly ball to center that Cespedes lost in the twilight. One of the consequences of this inning, this 6-run, 8-hit inning, is it's no longer twilight. It's dark now, and it shouldn't present any problem for Cespedes if another one comes his way.
I have not witnessed one of these innings in a long time.
Not under these circumstances. With a pitcher cruising, quality guy on the mound, big lead, playing against a last place team.
A team last in runs.
And Matz is having a really hard time handling. Markakis, the 11th man up in the inning. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Inciarte at second, Freeman at first. And Markakis lifts one foul. Flores will take a look, but that'll be back in the crowd. And now it's 1-2. Very interesting tonight for Matz. Even when he was going well, he was not striking anybody out. He was getting a lot of ground ball outs. He finishes his 4 1/3 innings with no walks and no strikeouts. Very unusual.
And this was a Brave team that is 8-19 this season against left-hand pitchers, starters.
Robles ahead on Markakis, 1-2. And he struck him out. First strikeout tonight for Mets pitching, and a badly needed one for the Mets and Robles. And the inning finally comes to an end, but 11 men bat. The Braves score 6 to get back in it. To go at Turner Field, and so who else to pull down that number than the greatest 44, Hank Aaron.
Hammerin' Hank. I saw him hit a home run off Lynn McLaughlin in Busch Stadium. It was a line drive down the left field line. It went out in like a second. And here's the new pitcher for the Bravos. Ian Kroll came over from the Tigers. He was in the Cameron Maybin trade.
Started out his big league career with the Nationals back in 2013. Now in his 22nd game for the Braves, Alejandro De Azu came in the double switch with Robles, gets his first at bat. De Azu started in center field last night, had a good night, went 2 for 4, a single and a double, and made 2 fine defensive plays behind Matt Harvey. And he gets his first at bat of the night here with Granderson and Cabrera to follow. Mets looking to turn the tide of this game, which has gone decidedly the other way after the Braves 6-run bottom of the 5th. 0-2 to De Azu. Did not think he swung.
Well, one of the few times De Azu is going to face a left-hander. Really, Terry didn't have any other option. He's his only outfielder on the bench. So kind of a no-brainer for Brian Snitker, the manager of the Braves, with Granderson up next to run a left-hander out this inning.
Alexi Agondo came on in relief of Aaron Blair in the 5th and got a couple of outs after Blair gave up 8 runs and 4 1/3. And now Kroll, the third Atlanta pitcher, and he strikes out De Azu for the first out. 1 out and nobody on. Let's check in with the studio. Justine Ward has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. We've got Max Scherzer on the mound tonight to try to protect that. Nats trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Here's Granderson, who's 0 for 3. 3 ground balls to the right side for Curtis tonight. Now facing the lefty, and Kroll misses low and in. Oh, got corner for a strike. Yeah. 0-1.
Knees in inside corner. Home plate umpire Tim Timmons is a pitcher's umpire. Calls a good game, consistent.
Ian Kroll, just 25 years old. Out of Naperville, Illinois.
I have no idea where that is in Illinois. Either northern Illinois is Cub country, southern Illinois is Cardinal country.
And where's the cutoff, like in Peoria?
Peoria. Peoria is the cutoff.
It's like Hartford. Fastball away to Granderson, 3-1.
I've been to Peoria more than a few times. There's more Cub fans, I think, in Peoria than Cardinal fans.
I believe Naperville would be more Cubs country. And that's outside, ball 4. And Granderson, a Chicago native, draws a walk against his fellow Illinoisan. Is that how you pronounce it? Illinoisan or Illinoisan?
I think Noyan.
Yeah. Thank you. I always count on you for these little
It's
pieces
probably
of
a
minutia.
French derivative, Illinois.
Illinois?
Which was probably the French were the ones that were the first to go there and make contact with the Indians.
I think it actually comes from the Native Americans, doesn't it?
Yes.
Illinois?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a tribe.
So you're saying the tribe got the name from the French?
French were there before everybody out further west on the Mississippi. They were La Salle, Marquette.
Here's Cabrera batting right-handed. I don't know.
I do know.
This is an area where you have a great deal of expertise. But I didn't know that the French would give a Native American tribe their name.
Well, a lot of the French Indians spoke French. Well, they came down the St. Lawrence from Montreal. The French they had in Canada, and they came down through the St. Lawrence River, and they were the ones that explored to Lake Michigan. Absolutely.
I feel so much smarter when I'm around you.
Oh, it's all those are great historical period of time. The push west from the Appalachians.
hits it slowly. Garcia with the quick toss. The turn by Peterson, and they turn the double play. Side retired. Ball not hit hard, but a couple of good throws, and they double up Cabrera.
Nice double play, Gary. I didn't think they were going to turn it.
So Ian Kroll puts up a 0. It's 8-6 New York as we go to the bottom of the 6th. By Jeep, now celebrating its 75th anniversary, a lifetime of freedom in a world of adventure. Also, Robles came in to get the final 2 outs in the 5th, stays on to face Adonis Garcia leading off in the 6th. And Garcia takes a high breaking ball for ball 1. Garcia delivered the first 2 runs in that 6-run 5th inning for the Braves. Hit a double off the fence in right center. That really got the wheels rolling against Steven Matz, who just could not stop the avalanche. Little blooper, and Walker's right there. 1 out. Matz only got 1 out in that 5th inning. Gave up 8 hits and 6 runs before Robles finally came in to bail him out. So Matz's final line: 4 1/3, 6 runs, 9 hits, no walks, no strikeouts, 1 home run. He threw 75 pitches, and Matz's ERA goes up from 2.74 to 3.29. Here's Tyler Flowers, who's 1 for 2. And you know, the first question is going to be, is he okay? Is his elbow all right?
A lot of left-hand hitters were up that inning, Gary, and they got hits off of him, and the only illegitimate hit was the fly ball that Cespedes lost in the sky. I mean, they were hard hit balls.
On the corner, and Robles gets ahead on Flowers, 1 and 2. Well, how invaluable has Hansel Robles been this last week?
And remember how he went through a period where he struggled, and Dan Warthen went out to the mound and I think gave him a little bit of a chewing out, and he's just been terrific ever since.
And he strikes out Flowers for the 2nd out. Second strikeout for Robles, who's retired all 4 hitters he's faced.
High fastball. Outside corner.
I mean, go back to Sunday. He soaked up 2 innings at the end of a lost game for the Mets and threw 41 pitches to save the rest of the bullpen, and then came back 2 nights later with that incredible long relief outing behind Cologne where he threw 65 pitches over 3 2/3. And now here he is 3 days later picking up for Mats, and so far he's been splendid again. Eric Ibar is 0 for 2, flied out and grounded into a force play. Pitcher spot due up next. Emilio Bonifacio is on deck if Ibar keeps the inning going. And Ibar pops it up. Walker on the outfield grass waiting. Side retired, so Robles has restored some sanity. He's retired 5 in a row after 6, 8-6 New York. Man with an 8-0 lead. Steven Matz melted down in the bottom of the 5th. Also, Robles has put the game back on track, and now we go to the 7th with the Mets up 8-6. Robles, what a week. He has been a savior for the Mets. Chris Withrow comes in to pitch the 7th for the Braves.
And he's his second stint with the ball club here. When you look at his numbers, left-handers seem to feast. He's tough on righties.
Cespedes is 0 for 3, hit the ball hard his last time up, lining out to deep center field. Walker and Looney to follow. They both had big nights, and Cespedes takes a fastball for a strike.
Looney, take away Looney's 3-run home run, the Mets are losing. Jeez.
I mean, it looked like the cookie topper at the time. Instead, it might be the essential icing.
Yes. Very good, Gary.
Cespedes takes one the other way for a base hit.
So Cespedes has his first hit of the night, and the Mets get their leadoff man on against Withrow in the 7th.
Second ball hit hard by Cespedes here. Fastball away. Good pitch. Went right with it. Nice hitting. Tip your hat on that one. Jeez. Make a pitch like that and get ripped.
So now Neil Walker, who's 5 for 5 in this series, 2 for 2 last night, 3 for 3 tonight. He's scored 3 runs in this game. Both these teams are carrying an extra reliever. Both teams with a 4-man bench, so there's plenty of arms out there. Antonio Bastardo, the next man up in the Mets bullpen. If you can arranged to have Bastardo in the game when Freeman comes up. That works in the Mets' favor. Bastardo has had Freeman's number over the years. Curveball misses from Withrow, 2-0. James Looney, who hit the 3-run homer his last time up against Aaron Blair, now out on deck. Withrow began his career with the Dodgers in his first year with Atlanta. And Walker slams that one to center, but on comes Inciarte to make the catch. So another hard hit ball off the bat of Walker. First time he's been retired tonight. 1 out. And now Looney, who has a double and a 3-run homer tonight. He's also been hit by a pitch, driven in 3, scored 3. That's that average up to 309. The home run, which was crushed on a hanging curveball, just his second in 81 at bats this year, and that's about what you get from Looney. He's never hit more than 15 home runs in a season, and he did that in an abbreviated first season in the big leagues. And everybody thought he was going to be one of those guys who'd hit 300 and hit 25 home runs a year, and it just never turned out that way. And that trickles away from Flowers, but no advance. 1-0.
Flowers has boxed a few back there, hasn't he? Dropped more than a few. Check that glove out. See his fingernails.
Lovely day glow.
Little day glow, yes. Wants him to throw over.
And a low throw, and Cespedes is out.
No. Let's hope he's not hurt.
He crumpled as he came back to the bag. And Tom Goodwin checking on him. So Cespedes is picked off, but more importantly, he's not getting up quickly.
I am hoping that.
Did the ball hit him, Keith?
No, I don't think the ball. No.
Or did he turn his ankle?
I'm hoping if it's anything, it's the ankle and not a knee buckling. We'll take a peek.
See, he's been reluctant to slide at times.
Oh, there's the
year.
turn
Yep.
right there. That's the turn of the ankle.
And he came off the bag when the ankle turned, and that's why he was tagged out. It's his left ankle. Ray Ramirez, the Mets head athletic trainer, out there with Terry Collins. Oh boy. With this team, every single day.
He's got to come out of the game. Get some ice on that right away. But who's your outfielder? It's going to be Johnson or?
Well, you got Reynolds, who played the outfield the other
Reynolds.
day. You moved De Aza to center.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he's a tough character. We'll
seems to be walking all right. You got to elevate that foot, and here it is again. Watch the left, right, the left foot right there.
Yep, and popped it off the bag. But you know, this all goes back to that hip injury he suffered early in the season, which made him a little reluctant to slide, and that time it cost him. Not only an out, but also a turned ankle. So now 2 out and nobody on with Looney at the plate. What did Terry Collins say yesterday while he was making his apology to Jay Horwitz? He said, I just don't like the fact that every day all I talk about is injuries. And so it has been with this team. Hunter Cervenka, the lefty, up in the Braves bullpen. And Looney takes a fastball for a strike, 1-2. Withrow's 1-2, and Looney takes the slider in the dirt. 2-2. Wilmer Flores would be next. Pitcher spot behind him. Two coming. In the air along the left field line. Francoeur won't get there. A foul ball.
I see where Washington took the lead back, Gary, up there in the bottom of the fourth, 3-2 over Milwaukee.
Collins, lineup card in hand, talking it over with his bench coach Dick Scott. Kelly Johnson with a bat in his hand. He'll pinch hit if the inning gets that far. Then the question is Cespedes out of the game? And if so, who do you put in the outfield? Johnson or Reynolds? Two coming to Looney. And he yanks one foul on a slider. Now let's answer our Verizon trivia question. We asked who was the only Braves player to play in all three cities. I think it's Eddie Matthews, no?
Okay, you were right. I didn't realize. Yeah, that makes sense.
Great home run hitting third baseman.
When did they leave Boston for Milwaukee?
53.
Okay.
They were the first team to relocate in the 50s. In short order, the Braves moved from Boston to Milwaukee. The A's moved from Philadelphia to Kansas City, and the St. Louis Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Orioles. But the Braves were the first to leave. Of course, they were only in Milwaukee for 13 years before they moved to Atlanta. 3-2 coming, and that's bounced into the shift. Freeman on the backhand, and the flip on target to Withrow to retire the sign, and we'll keep an eye on whether Cespedes can stay in the game. Stretch time, it's 8-6 New York. Picked off first base. Went down, got retaped, and he's right back out there in center field.
One tough hombre. Nice to see.
I wonder, though, think about it this way. If he's a little compromised with that ankle, would the Mets be better off flipping him and De Aza, since, you know, Cespedes' natural position's left field anyway?
You make a very good point, Gare.
Emilio Bonifacio flies one down the left field line, and it's De Aza to the line to make the catch.
Well,
so the guy who had to make the run was the left fielder.
Right.
So there you go. So that breaks that theory.
That's why we're up here and Terry's down there.
So 1 pitch and 1 out for Robles, who's now retired 6 in a row. And Cespedes didn't have to move an inch.
And his 3rd inning of work once again.
He is amazing. Robles, 2 innings Sunday and 41 pitches, 3 2/3 on Tuesday and 65 pitches. And now he's pitched 2 full innings in this game, but only 15 pitches. Jace Peterson takes out of the strike zone, ball 1. Peterson had a base hit and scored a run in the midst of the Braves' 6-run 5th. And slider misses down, a ball and a strike. Ender Inciarte on deck. You know, Robles wound up the winning pitcher in that game Tuesday night, where Colon was forced out in the 1st inning. And he has a chance to be a winning pitcher tonight as well, because Mats didn't go the required 5 innings, left with an 8-6 lead. And Peterson takes a strike. 2-2.
Oh, I tell you what, if you can get a full inning in here, and you get Freeman leading off the 8th inning.
And then you bring Bastardo in. I think if they get to Freeman in this inning, we'll see Bastardo. That's whacked the other way. Diaz is there. And he's had both putouts of the inning.
So
good thing they kept him there.
No.
You can win a trip to Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll experience the action, thrills, and excitement of 2 amazing theme parks, and stay on site at Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort. Go to sny.tv/Toyota and enter the Toyota Fan Flyaway Sweepstakes today. So 2 out and nobody on. Robles has faced 7, retired 7. And now he'll take on Inciarte, who's 2 for 3 and an infield single in that 6-run 5th. Mets 8 runs, 8 hits. The Braves 6 runs and 9 hits were in the home 7th. And Inciarte hits it out to right, and Granderson coming on, and he gets there to retire the side. 3 fly ball outs for Robles. He has retired 8 in a row. What a performance. 8-6 Mets after 7. Company to Citi Field this Saturday and Sunday. Original Grateful Dead Net members are united with an all-star cast, including John Mayer. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Dead&Company. Mets box score presented by Jeep. Big night for James Looney, a 3-run homer. Neil Walker with 3 more hits. Mets built an 8-0 lead. They lead 8-6 as we go to the 8th inning. And the big left-hander Hunter Cervenka is in.
Left-hander 6 for 42 at a 143 batting average clip, and he has inherited runners. He has left 20 of 22 stranded, so that's pretty good. Outstanding.
So Robles heading up the tunnel after another job incredibly well done. 2 2/3 innings of perfect relief after Steven Matz melted down in the 5th. Wilmer Flores leads off the 8th. He has an RBI double tonight. 1 for 2 and a walk. Matt Reynolds has come out on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher spot due up next and the lefty in the game. Cervenka, the 5th Atlanta pitcher of the night, and that's pulled down the line by Flores. It goes foul. Aaron Blair, the starter, went 4 1/3, allowed 8 runs and 7 hits. The bullpen has held the Mets off the board. Ogando for 2/3, Kroll for an inning, Withrow for an inning, and now Cervenka. And he runs one inside, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, I just think that Brian Snitker just left Blair, the starting pitcher, in a little bit too long. This could have been a different ball game. That 3-run home run is off the bat of Looney was the last 3 runs given up, runs 6, 7, and 8, and that's the big difference in this ball game.
Cervenka behind 3-1 on Flores, and Wilmer takes ball 4, and the Mets have the leadoff man on. Flores on base for the 3rd time tonight. Let's check in with the studio. Justine Ward has another game break brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. All right, now Matt Reynolds, who appeared as a pinch hitter last night and drew a walk in the 9th inning. Reynolds, who day before yesterday hit his first big league home run at Citi Field. Batting for the pitcher. So Robles done after his perfect 2 2/3, and Cervenka having trouble throwing strikes. Reynolds takes a long look down at Tim Tuffle. He would be a guy you could hit and run with. You don't have
Absolutely.
any speed, don't have any speed at first base, so he'd better make contact.
He handles the bat well, Reynolds. You know me, I'm a proponent of that. Of the hit and run. It's just kind of a lost art.
Travis d'Arnaud, who has had a good night at the plate, waiting on deck. And Reynolds takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-2. Playing with a short bench. They've already used De Aza in a double switch, and now Reynolds, and leaves just Kelly Johnson and Rene Rivera on the bench. And Reynolds goes down on strikes. Good slider by Cervenka to get him, 1 down.
Excellent slider. Couldn't put it in a better spot. Good hard little down tilt. Really got on top of that. Good pitch.
Cervenka saying, see how we are. 1 out and 1 on. Now Travis d'Arnaud was driven in 3 runs tonight with a ground out and a 2-run single. Base hit in the 4th inning, went to the opposite field. His first hit since coming off the disabled list, and it was a big one. Gave the Mets a 4-0 lead at the time. And Cervenka finds the corner with that slider, 0-1. Travis checking with Tim Timmons on the call.
Tim Timmons, elevation wise, knees and letters, he calls what it says in the rule book. He is a pitcher's umpire, but he has been, as a hitter, you've got to know coming in. You have no gripe. It's what it is. They're reasonably called strikes.
Shot foul, and it's 0-2. In Milwaukee, Keon Broxton just homered against Max Scherzer to tie up that game. Broxton's first big league home run. He gives up home runs, Scherzer.
He does. He's
a great pitcher, but he's kind of like Bert Blyleven and Robin Roberts. He just gives up tons of home runs.
Ferguson Jenkins.
Catfish on it.
Very good. Thank you.
Some guys, they throw so many strikes, they just tend to give up the long ball. 0-2 to Darno, and he struck him out with a slider. So back-to-back strikeouts for Cervenka against right-hand hitters.
Cervenka, I've seen him 2 or 3 times, and he is impressive.
This guy was released by the Cubs last summer, and he has really come into his own. The thing about having a rebuilding team like the Braves, they give you opportunities. So here's De Aza up for the second time. Came in a double switch in the 5th, struck out in the 6th. Flores at first with 2 down. 8-6 New York in the 8th. So De Aza is getting his second at bat. Both have been against left-hand pitching. Struck out against Ian Kroll his first time, and he chops this one off the plate, and Cervenka's got it, and that retires the side. A leadoff walk. Mets can't do anything with it. Still 8-6 going to the bottom of the 8th.
Pitch. There's a drive into left field. That ball is going, and out of here. Henry Aaron has just tied Babe Ruth in the all-time home run parade.
Well, you often see number 715. You
Yes.
don't often get to see number 714 for Hank Aaron that he hit off Jack Billingham in Cincinnati.
Very nice, guys in the truck. I've not seen that home run in ages.
Antonio Bastardo on to try and keep the good feelings going, left behind by Hansel Robles.
Well, he's got good numbers against Freeman. And my feeling is you got Markakis is the 3rd hitter in the order. If they get Freeman out, Francoeur can't beat you with a long ball. Can't hurt you or tie the ball game.
Freeman drove in a run with a base hit his last time up. That was the last man Matz faced in the 5th. And Freeman fouls it back. Ball and 2 strikes. Francoeur on deck. Markakis behind him. Bastardo had a rough last outing against the Braves last Sunday. Gave up 2 runs in an inning, including a double to Freeman. Eric Goodell staying busy in the Mets bullpen. Terry Collins told us before the game he would not use Addison Reed, who's worked 3 straight games, or Jerry Blevins, who's also worked 3 straight days. So he's got Familia ready for the 9th. He's just got to find a way through this 8th against the toughest part of the Braves batting order. 2-2 on the way.
And a half swing and a miss, and Freeman is down on strikes. There's a king-sized out for Antonio Bastardo. 1 out in the 8th.
That fastball up and in, hard to lay off. Wants it out, he wants it down and away, d'Arnaud, and he misses up and in. Ties up Freeman.
So 1 big out for Bastardo, and now he'll take on Jeff Francoeur, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Got the 6-run 5th inning started for the Braves with a long double to right center.
Huge out right there.
That's 9 in a row retired by the Mets bullpen. The first 8 by Robles. How enormous has Hansel Robles been this week?
He has been awesome, and I know that word is so often used today, and I don't like it, but he has been awesome. 8 up, 8 down. Terrific.
So just to recap his week, he got 6 outs on Sunday. He got 11 outs on Tuesday, and he gets 8 more outs on Friday. You don't see relief pitchers doing that very often. And he has a chance for his 2nd win of the week if the Mets can hang on. 3-0 now to Francoeur with Markakis on deck. It's hard to walk Francoeur, but he does occasionally. He's drawn 8 walks this year. And Familia is up, and I don't think that Terry would hesitate to go to Familia here in the 8th inning if he had to. For 4 or even 5 outs. And Francoeur takes a strike, 3-1. Three-1 from Bastardo, and he gets the swinging strike with the fastball. 3-2.
Bastardo gets himself in more trouble. He gets a little wild around the plate and gets behind, and he can give up a long ball with the best of them.
Three-2 coming to Francoeur. Pulled down to third, off the chest of Flores. He has time. Low throw, picked out by Looney, and he gets the out. A hot shot by Francoeur. Flores stayed with it, and Looney with a nice pick.
Nice play by Wilmer here. Stays in front. Ball comes up. Makes the throw. Tough hop for Looney. This is a tough chance, right? That's why they call it the hot corner. Wilmer does everything right. Keeps his body in front.
That's the old-fashioned way of playing third. We see so many third basemen now work to play that ball on their backhand, but Wilmer knocked it down with his chest, and that's why he was able to make the play.
Well, Looney makes a nice scoop right there. Didn't finish it up pretty, but it's 5-3 on your scorecard.
So 2 out and nobody on for Markakis, who takes a strike. What an odd game this has been. It's the 2nd time tonight that 10 straight Braves have been retired. Matt's retired 10 in a row from the 1st through the 4th, and now Robles and Bastardo have retired 10 in a row. In between, the Braves had a 6-run inning.
Well, notice that d'Arnaud put down number 1 with a 3-1 fastball to Francoeur, a 3-2 fastball to Francoeur. Francoeur can't beat you. You got a 2-run lead. No free passes.
1-1 to Markakis, and he slices one foul, 1-2. Here's your Cadillac around the majors. Justin Bour hit a grand slam in the first inning to tie the game, but the Cubs have gone in front 5-4 in the 8th. Daniel Murphy put the Nats in front briefly before Keon Broxton's home run tied it. They're 3-3 in the 6th. And a wild one in Pittsburgh where the Pirates are just trying to get out of their own way. They lead the Dodgers 8-6.
Pirates just can't hold anybody. Their pitching's just been awful.
Markakis toward left center. Diaz is not going to get it, and it goes to the wall. And Markakis has his second double of the night. This one more legit than the first.
And that's going to get Terry Collins out of the dugout.
Yeah, he's got Familia ready, and I am certain he'll go to Jay Reese for the 4-out save.
And a flip-flop too.
Yep. So Markakis aboard. That'll get the tying run to bat with Adonis Garcia, who had the big hit in the 8th inning last night, and Derry's not going to mess around. It'll go right to his closer. So after the Mets bullpen had retired 10 in a row, Bastardo gives up the 2-out double. Kelly Johnson is coming into the game as part of the double switch, and Jay Reese Familia, 24 for 24 in save opportunities this year, will try and set a Mets club record with number 25 tonight, but he'll have some extra duty to do. Pitching change in the 8th. Mets up 8-6. We'll be right back to Atlanta. Hole.
Yeah, and don't touch that dial. It is 24 out of 24 saves this year. He has been perfect.
24 for 24 ties Armando Benitez's club record for consecutive saves converted to start a season. And tonight Familia will be asked to get 4 outs to get that record-setting save. He faces Adonis Garcia, who has a 2-run double tonight, hit the 2-run homer in the 8th inning last night off Addison Reed. And he chops one out towards short. Cabrera plays the big hop and throws him out. Familia throws one pitch and gets the first of those 4 outs. To the 9th we go in Atlanta. Mets with an 8-6 lead. All right, guys. Curtis Granderson leads off the top of the ninth against Hunter Cervenka, who worked the eighth. Granderson 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. Just 2 hits in his last 22 at bats. He's got Cabrera and Cespedes behind him here in the top of the ninth. Cervenka walked 1 and struck out 2 in the 8th inning. And the fastball misses high, 2-0. In the bottom of the ninth, the Braves will have 7, 8, and 9 in the order coming up. Flowers, Ibar, and a pinch hitter. Way inside to Granderson, and he spins 3-0.
Not enough of that today. Those hitters, it's my inside corner. I'm sure he set up away Flowers. This has just got away from Cervenka, but it's a good thing to be a little bit wild once in a while.
Curtis takes high, ball 4, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner in the ninth. So for the second straight inning, Cervenka walks the leadoff hitter. Well, the Mets and Braves on Fox tomorrow, on Picks on Sunday. So our next SNY telecast will be Monday night when the Mets begin their big series in Washington with Noah Syndergaard on the hill. 6 o'clock, the coverage Monday night on SNY. There are your city probables for the next 2 nights. Jacob deGrom against the Braves ace Julio Teheran, who hit the Mets last Sunday, and then Bartolo Colon and his bruised thumb will take the mound Sunday against Bud Norris. Here's Cabrera, who's 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. And he punches 1 foul. The Mets have gotten very little out of the top of the batting order tonight.
They got 3 walks out of him.
Right, but only 1 hit.
Only 1 hit, 1 run.
And even that 1 hit turned into a scary affair as Cespedes got the hit, then got picked off, turned his ankle, but stayed in the game, and he's now on deck. What'd you call him? One tough hombre?
One tough hombre.
He is that.
O is O in Spanish here.
Hombre.
It's a long O.
Thank you. It's been such an education tonight.
I'll tell you what, Cervenka's got a nice little slider. You remember the Paul Newman movie, Hombre? Do you remember that movie? I think he played a half white, half Indian was his character.
Not a big fan of the Westerns.
Oh, I love the Westerns.
Double play ball. Peterson with the flip. Ibar with the turn. 4-6-3 double play. Second one Cabrera's hit into tonight. 2 out and nobody on.
Taylor made. Don't have to rush here. Peterson gives the good feed.
So 2 out and nobody on. Cespedes coming up. Meanwhile in Milwaukee, Kirk Neuenhuis goes deep for the Brewers, and they now lead the Nationals 5-3.
Wow.
That must be a flashback for the Nats. Neuenhuis had that big home run last September for the Mets against the Nats.
Not a good outing for Scherzer. That's a big game. If you're the ace, you got to go in there and stop the bleeding. They got swept in Los Angeles.
Cespedes skips out of the way, nearly got hit in that ankle. See, he's wearing a protector on that left ankle that he turned, and he got out of the way.
He's got to make sure, Gary, he's in the game, and tonight he's got to ice that thing down, keep it elevated.
Coming inside, and Cervenka finds the corner, 1-1. Coming up tonight after the post game, it's Geico Sports Night. Jose Reyes is free tomorrow, and it looks like the Mets will probably be signing him. And we'll have all the other sports news as well on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game. Big cut by Cespedes, 1-2.
Well, he does not get cheated. I'll tell you what, he's had some aches and pains this year, and he stays in the game. He wants to play. I tell you, he showed me a lot.
Well, that's what Terry Collins said. He said he was concerned about Cespedes when he hurt the wrist the other day because Cespedes never complains about any physical issues. 1-2. And did he go? He did not. 2-2.
Definitely not.
If Cespedes keeps the inning going, Neil Walker would be next. Meanwhile, Jerry's Familia cooling his heels after getting one out on just one pitch in the eighth, getting ready for what he hopes will be a record-setting save in the ninth. 2-2. Pulled down to third. Garcia sweeps it up. Side retire. So it's on Jerry's Familia now, looking to go 25 for 25. 3 more outs to get. 8-6 New York. Jerry's Familia back to the mound for the bottom of the ninth. Mets with an 8-6 lead. Tyler Flowers leads off against Familia. Flowers 1 for 3 on the night. And he takes a slider for a strike. Eric Ibar on deck, and then the pitcher's spot. Braves have Chase Darno, a right-hand batter, and A.J. Pierzynski, a left-hand batter, left in the dugout.
I got to believe it's going to be Pierzynski.
Quick pitch by Familia, and it's drilled into left field. A base hit for Flowers. And so the Braves will get the tying run to the plate here in the ninth. The quick pitch fastball that hurt him against Alex Gordon last October.
Too much of the plate, didn't sink. Nice hitting by Flowers. And this Brave lot is a pesky bunch.
Certainly have been that. Mets had an 8-0 lead in this game. Braves scored 6 against Steven Matz in the 5th before Hansel Robles came in and bailed him out. Now Familia, who got the last out in the 8th, has given up a leadoff hit in the 9th. Ibar comes to the plate as the tying run. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And Pierzynski out on deck to pinch hit. Ball 1 to Ibar. Since the start of 2014, Familia has 9 saves of 4 outs or more. tied for second in the majors. And he's looking for another one tonight. Well, the Braves aren't going to make it easy. 11 hits now for Atlanta tonight. And Ibar takes a sinker for a strike. 1-1. Flowers at first and nobody out. On 1-1, Ibar takes a slider that just missed. 2-1.
Just missed. He wanted that call. This is a nasty backdoor slider.
Certainly could have been a strike, but Tim Timmons said no. And now it's 2-1. And Ibar is hit by the pitch, and now the tying runs are on base. Wow.
Wow is right. That one completely got away.
Just not going to be easy for Familia. And Ibar gets some attention from the athletic trainer.
So d'Arnaud comes up. He opts for d'Arnaud Snickard. And at home, you play for the tie.
Yep. And that's why he sent him up there to bunt, right?
Right, I would think.
For Familia, that's the first batter he's hit this season. So Chase d'Arnaud will stand there next to his brother Travis.
Chase d'Arnaud 3 for 6 as a pinch hitter this year. But I got to believe here he is going to be bunting.
Chase has gotten a lot of playing time lately, and he's done well. He's hitting .287. Mets are looking for the bunt. Flowers at second, not a fast runner. Ibar at first, nobody out. And d'Arnaud squares and takes it low.
All of a sudden, Familia can't find the plate.
d'Arnaud doesn't have that much big league time, so that's not really an informative stat. You have to look and see how many he has in the minor leagues. And he pops up the bunt, and Flores has it, drops it, and he'll get the force at third.
Oh,
and now he can get a force at second as well. It's a double play.
Oh my
The
word.
Mets turn a double play as Flores attempted to catch the bunt on a liner. He trapped it. Umpire said he no catch, and he gets the force at third, and they get the force at second as well.
Oh, are they living right? I think he had it here. I don't think he trapped it. I think he dropped it. And the runner at second base, what else can he do?
Well, if you're
Both
Flowers,
runners
you have to assume, but what if the runner at first should have taken off at
Yes.
this point? And Ibar, I don't know if he wasn't watching the umpire or what, but he never broke for second. So Flowers was already out. He was still standing at second base, and Ibar was still standing at first, and he got forced at second. So d'Arnaud is on first with 2 out, and the Braves are down to their final out with Jace Peterson coming up. Tying run at the plate in an 8-6 game, and the sinker taken low.
This is incredibly lucky for the Mets. And Wilmer did not hesitate. He was very much aware of the lead runner, the force out. Well done, Wilmer.
It's a 5-4 double play, leaving d'Arnaud at first. Looney will play behind him, and Peterson takes a knee-high strike, 1-1.
And don't notice that d'Arnaud was very much involved in that play. As far, I think he was verbally telling Wilmer for the force out at second.
Travis d'Arnaud.
Yes.
Got to differentiate
Yes.
your d'Arnaud.
Yes.
Chase
Sorry.
bunted the ball, and Travis, who helped Flores get the out. There goes d'Arnaud, swing and a miss for the second strike. d'Arnaud takes second on defensive indifference, and the Braves are down to their final strike of the night.
Boy, that I have not seen that, Gary, in my day.
Looney wants to come in toward the mound to talk to Familia. What's that about? Probably going to tell him he's playing off the line. That he needs to get over to cover. He's going to go back behind the bag.
He is definitely guarding the line, that's for sure.
1-2 to Jace Peterson.
And a defensive cut to foul off the slider and hang in there.
The scoring on this, Gary, would that be a fielder's choice to d'Arnaud? A double play fielder's choice,
double
right?
Play, 5-4 double play. Batter reaches on the fielder's choice.
That is, I've never scored like that. A play like that.
It was strange. We've seen a few strange ones. We had the one in Milwaukee where the Mets turned a strange double play. 1-2 inside. 2-2 to Peterson, or where the Brewers tried to turn a double play, I should say, and they chased down the wrong guy. Remember they had Kelly Johnson out at second on a force after the ball went off the shortstop's glove, and instead of getting Flores coming off second, they tried to chase down Johnson, who was already out. So we've seen a few strange ones.
2-2 coming. He struck him out. The ball gets behind d'Arnaud. He retrieves it. The low throw, and he's out. Looney stayed on the bag, and the ball game is over.
Oh my!
The Braves still have a challenge left, and you can be certain that they will challenge this final call. But Looney with an incredible grab on the throw by d'Arnaud, and the first base umpire Ryan Blakeney said he stayed on the bag. Let's watch.
Snow cone on this too, I believe.
Oh wow, what an incredible grab. But did he stay on the bag?
Yes, he did.
It certainly appeared he dragged his toe across the bag. The umpires are going to review it as the Braves are challenging. The Mets are out on the field to shake hands and not sure whether they should quite yet.
Look at the snow cone. Very nice.
That was a fantastic play by Looney. The Mets are coming out of the field. The umpires have not yet adjudicated this, but they're already shaking hands. Meanwhile, the umpires are still on headset. The play under review brought to you by Mazda Driving Matters. And home plate umpire just told the Mets, who were coming off the bench, to go back because it's not time to celebrate yet.
He's clearly on the base.
Certainly appeared as though his toe scraped across the bag, but it is not official yet because the umpires are still talking to the umpires in the bunker in Chelsea, Jerry Lane's crew and Mike Winter's crew, who will make this final call. What a bizarre night, and what a fitting close. And here's the final call. He's out, and the ball game is now officially over, and the Mets have gotten even in the series. A very strange ball game in Atlanta. The Mets built an 8-0 lead. Steven Matz melted down in the fifth, but the Mets bullpen saves it, and Jeurys Familia sets a Mets club record by saving 25 straight games to start the season, breaking the old mark held by Armando Benitez. And the Mets get themselves a strange, hard-fought victory in Atlanta.
And a much-needed victory here to get on the board on this road trip with Washington up next. Looney, the